everyone, it's Jack and Sam from Cultaholic.com with a news video concerning the new NXT announcement. Ooh.
Big boy stuff this is.
WWE and the USA Network have announced that NXT will be moving to TV in a 2-hour time slot. So this news comes via both WWE and USA Network, who have issued like a press release with all the details. So we'll run through those first, and then we'll discuss what this could potentially mean. How will it look? Are there going to be any changes? And of course, the big looming question: what does this mean for AEW? Because they're set to move to TV on Wednesdays as well.
Wednesday Night Wars, innit?
Wednesday Night Wars. So yes, WWE and USA Network today announced an agreement in principle to air WWE's weekly Wednesday night show NXT live on the USA Network at 8 or 7 Central, starting on September the 18th. So it gets a little bit of a jump on AEW, which of course starts the first week of October.
Yeah.
The new 2-hour weekly show will expand its reach on the USA Network, the leader in cable entertainment. This comes from, if you couldn't tell, the press release.
Just bullet points from the press release.
While staying in its Wednesday night time slot that is held since 2015. So it is staying in the same time slot, but it's expanding to a further second hour. And of course, that's going to mirror, I believe, AEW, which is also going to run for 2 hours. I think I'm correct in saying that? Yes. AEW is a 2-hour show, I think. Chris McCumber, the president of Entertainment Networks, USA and Sci-Fi, says, as the #1 cable entertainment network, we're excited to add NXT to our weekly lineup alongside Powerhouse flagship Monday Night Raw and bring a generation of superstars to a wide audience. A new generation, of superstars to a wide audience. Then they've explained the brand. This is an interesting point because it kind of shows what they're trying to present NXT as to a wider audience.
People that don't know what it is, yeah.
And it's kind of not what I'd immediately describe NXT as. It differs from my view of NXT a little bit.
Yeah, it's sort of, they're talking about the full roster as well, which a lot of them don't appear on TV.
Just before I read it as well, do you know what this reminds me of? Their articles on WWE.com when they announce a new class of performance center recruits, where it basically focuses heavily on their sporting background. Yeah. So it says, the brand's diverse roster consists of elite athletes from the NFL, collegiate and amateur sports, MMA, competitive bodybuilding, and international sports such as rugby, kushti, and kabaddi. So they're really trying to push this whole dual idea of big sporting backgrounds in sports away from wrestling, and also this international flavour they're trying to go for as well. They've also said the series will continue to emanate from Full Sail University in Orlando. I think that's a great idea.
I think that's smart, yeah.
Yeah, because the crowd are great there, they know what they're doing, and they seem to... It seems to be a really nice setup for NXT for what it is in that arena as well.
And it always looks sold out.
Yes. As part of WWE's production partnership with the preeminent entertainment, media, arts and technology institution, that's Full Sail University, the new 2-hour NXT weekly show will also be available on demand on WWE Network every Thursday night beginning at 8 Eastern or 7 Central, so that's the next night. So you can watch it on TV on Wednesday night, or you can catch it on the network the following night. NXT Takeover events will continue to stream live exclusively on the WWE Network. Very interesting stuff there.
I'm happy with that. I like that we're not having to wait a month like we do for Raw and SmackDown, or is it 5 weeks or something for the network on those delays. It would, I think with NXT it would weaken it a little bit, I think, especially with the build to stuff, and a lot of people are just so used to using the network. Yeah,
I think you mentioned as well you hope that Raw and SmackDown can follow suit because of
that. Yeah, I really hope that.
Now the big talking point, well, there's been many, but one of the big talking points regarding NXT recently, and a talking point that's kind of magnified since this announcement, is Vince's involvement, because there's been rumours swirling for a little while that Vince is going to step in as and when NXT moves to TV, which it's now confirmed to be doing, and whether he'll change Triple H's formula, whether he'll try and make it more like a Raw or SmackDown style thing, or whether it'll be more of a hands-off approach.
Well, I think it can go one of two ways. Like, so Vince could either be there just to sort of deal with the handover, because it's going to TV. He has had experience with wrestling on TV since wrestling on TV was really just starting. He's very knowledgeable about it, and people obviously will never give Vince enough credit because he killed wrestling. But I think I'm praying that it's just that sort of like handover. This is what we need to do as a team for live television production every week. This is like everything we need. But there is the idea that, if we're going to 2 hours and it's going to be on TV, and especially now they're getting the jump on AEW, those first couple of weeks that they're getting the jump, they're going to have to be big.
Yeah,
they're going to have to be very, very
I think we
big.
could see some title changes or some big debuts, that sort of thing.
I think it's going to as well, it's going to push a lot of things off the NXT shows.
Right.
It's going to push off we often get like random matchups with like jobbers or new people who are just coming into the NXT family, who was just sort of like given to people like Jackson Riker to run through. Then you get like arbitrary matchups between sort of newer people. I think it might cause a split in NXT in a way, where there'll be NXT what you see on TV, and then NXT that goes out on the road with all of the up-and-coming people with maybe 1 or 2 stars. Like
live event TV. NXT, right, where there's a bit more freedom and less pressure for them to learn, so basically, NXT, the developmental brand, and NXT, the TV show. Now, one source that would support this point that we really hope is true, that Vince won't meddle too much with Triple H's formula, is from Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, who says even with the move to USA, the internal word is that the show will remain airing the same type of content that has built NXT and will make no drastic changes. So hopefully that's true. That would be really good.
I think it'd be foolish to change the formula this far in. People know what they're getting with it. People like what NXT brings. I just think, we're going to see some tightening, tightening of the shows just a little bit. There'll be a lot less fat, and it's just going to be a lot more lean.
That's tightening in terms of streamlining, not tighten towers it. Not tight, which is a verb that means to Vince McMahonify. Triple H is reportedly, according to Dave Meltzer, going to miss maybe some SmackDown shows just because of travel issues. I assume he means the ones on the West Coast, further away from Orlando, from Florida.
They will fly him over on that private jet and he will parachute to the venue.
Now, Meltzer has also talked a little bit about the value of the deal. He says it's around $50 million worth. He also thinks that the live TV aspect will result in better contracts all around, which is always great to see.
Yeah, I think that if you're going from an environment where it's taped and, if something does go wrong, then you can always, not that you want to have to, but you can always fix it. You can always redo the promo, or you can always do X, Y, Z. With live TV, there is a lot more pressure, so I'm assuming that it means everybody else is going to be getting a not a considerable raise, but at least a fair raise.
I mean, I remember when the news of the big new TV deals for Raw and SmackDown came about, especially when SmackDown was moving to Fox, and a lot of people were saying this is going to change the entire power dynamic of the wrestling industry, or at least in WWE, when the power is now no longer in terms of merch sales or pay-per-view, it's now TV. Because TV's worth so much that if the wrestlers theoretically were to all band together and go on strike, they'd have to bow to their demands because TV is so important. But then, of course, lots of people said that would never really happen in this day and age.
Why do you think there's a roster of 300 million people?
So there's enough to call them.
Kick them all out, vacate the titles.
We're still going to get NXT on the network just a day later. As we mentioned, we both hope, I agree with you, that Raw and SmackDown will hopefully follow suit, because it's nice to see those shows up on the network pretty soon after they've gone to air. And I like that takeovers are still airing live on the network as well. I wasn't too worried that this was going to change that, but it's reassuring to know that takeover is still going to be an exclusive network thing. Just because it's some of my favourite wrestling around takeover, isn't it?
It's some of the best shows of the year, right?
Some of the best shows that WWE have ever put on have been takeovers. It's amazing how consistently amazing they are. Also, you specifically wanted to talk about this because you do cover both NXT and 205 Live for us, and there were rumours circulating at sort of the end of last month about there being a potential merger between the two brands.
Yes, so the rumours started circulating. I don't know who would sort of set the hype train in motion on this one, but the rumours started circulating that because NXT was going to go up to 2 hours, that maybe 205 Live would be folded into NXT, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I think there'll definitely be some cross-brand action because we're already getting people like Angel Garza, Isaiah Swerve Scott, or Shane Strickland, going up to 205 Live. I think having them come down to NXT and, across to NXT now, not down, and having that blend between the shows is perfect because it makes people care about both shows. If they're not going to get rid of 205 Live, which I don't think they should, I'd like to see that just be a bit more ingrained with each other. Right. Well, let's go back to just because it was interesting because you were talking about their going across to NXT now rather than down to NXT. And this leads us on to what Vince McMahon has said as part of this press release. Yes. About whether NXT will become a fully fledged third brand. So Vince McMahon says, the move to the USA Network provides an opportunity to deepen our relationship with NBC Universal and further build the NXT brand. Over the long term, our goal is to develop a following that can be monetized to the same level as our flagship programs, Raw and SmackDown. So does this mean, is this a good thing? Does this mean that NXT is going to grow in stature, or does it mean that it'll just become another Raw or another SmackDown? As long as they don't WWE CW it. Right. I think the problem here is that when it gets to a point where we want to be able to monetize it, as much as the other two brands, then NXT will leave Full Sail, NXT will be on the road, NXT will have the exact same setup as Raw and SmackDown, and it'll not feel special anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just sort of like Vince is talking in like, grand terms, like way in the future.
Yeah.
I'm very uneasy about the idea of NXT becoming a fully fledged third brand. I quite like it being its own removed entity.
Me too. I think it's what makes it special. And they've gone to tremendous lengths as well to build. They always talk about on the YouTube channel and on the Performance Center YouTube channel about the NXT family. We are NXT, and it makes it feel like a special thing and not necessarily a step down.
Yeah.
Just a different show. And everyone, all of the wrestlers, you can just tell, love being a part of it as well. So now let's take a look at the response from the other side of things, AEW. Chris Jericho tweeted, "Congrats to NXT for making the big move to the USA Network. Runners always race faster when somebody's right behind them." That theory about, what made the Monday Night Wars so great.
Yeah.
Competition creates cash and all that sort of thing. Or as Scott D'Amore said to us, a rising tide lifts all boats, which I really liked. I thought that was a nice thing.
Did you just paraphrase Eric Bischoff?
I did, yeah. I did change it slightly, didn't I? He was controversy creates cash, wasn't it? Not competition creates cash. Jericho went on to say, "It's going to be fun to see which team the world decides to join. Hashtag choose Jericho," making it by himself, at AEW Wrestling and at AEW on TNT. Then Nick Jackson earlier, because before this was made official, Dave Meltzer sort of leaked the news last night. Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks said, "We aren't scared." Whoa. On the other side of things, though, loads of WWE superstars have reacted very positively. Roman Reigns said, "A lot of time has been spent in the trenches with the men and women I was in NXT with," because you always forget that Roman Reigns was in NXT. From armories to the main event of WrestleMania, we've come a long way and we'll always be NXT. Hashtag we are NXT.
But before he was NXT, he was FCW, wasn't he? So he's not NXT through and through. He was Layer Key.
That's right. John Cena, a long step away from the developmental system down in Florida. From the first NXT arrival on WWE Network to a weekly television show on the USA Network. Congratulations to WWE and NXT. This is a very interesting one because it's Triple H, the leader of the NXT brand. Can't describe this announcement in any other word than proud. Proud of everyone involved from day one. Proud you've let your voice be heard and carried the banner of this brand. Proud you've loudly and clearly said, "We are NXT." I really hope for Triple H's sake, because he's poured his heart and soul into this, I really hope that it just continues as it has been, just on a bigger platform.
Do you think he just gives up if it doesn't and joins AEW? Make things really awkward at Sunday night family dinner.
Well, Adam Cole and Britt Baker tweeted Battle of the Brands and Messy Hair Buns, and it's both of them with their hair in the same way. And one of them is obviously going to be on one show, and one is going to be on the other one. Or Battle of Wednesday Nights and the Messy Hair Buns. Stokely Hathaway, or Malcolm Bivens, I think is his now new WWE name. Just tweeted, you said this was your personal favourite one.
Yeah.
Just a photo of himself giving a thumbs up in front of Titan's house.
He's just literally like, it's so good.
Roderick Strong, the USA Network just became undisputed. He tagged the rest of his stable, said this is going to be fun. Our era shocked the system. I don't know whether that implies, I don't know how much he even knows, but I don't know whether that implies that maybe call-ups aren't going to become as much of a thing anymore, because if the undisputed era stay there for a while.
I think there might be a reason why Johnny hasn't moved up.
You think?
And the undisputed era are like one of the hottest stables in all of wrestling right now. Johnny Gargano is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. One of the most exciting, certainly. I think, there was a lot of talk about this. Was it like the start of the year, or was it like around Mania time, where it was like maybe people don't need to be called up anymore from NXT, and it was like...
Maybe. Yeah. Albert, who was, of course, the head trainer.
Prince Albert, the
head trainer of the Performance Center. What was he called? Giant Bernard?
Lord Tensai.
Lord Tensai.
There you go.
He is the head trainer, I think, of the Performance Center.
Matt Bloom, yes.
Matt Bloom. He said, "Beyond proud and excited, the blood, sweat and tears that got us where we are today has paid off. This is just the beginning." Bailey says, "I'm jealous, but mostly so proud of NXT and how far it's come. Here's to the future." Ooh, she did enjoy the best time of her career so far in NXT. Alexa Bliss, "My time in NXT was so important. Glitter, glitz, sparkle, blissed. This is so exciting for everyone at WWE." Alexa Bliss, for me, is like the opposite of Bailey. Like, she was all right. She had an all right time on NXT, but she wasn't nearly as prominent as she became.
I think.
On the main roster.
Well, she's really interesting one to look at, because she got down to her last chance, and it was no fault of her own. It was just that things weren't really gelling, and then all of a sudden it fell into place, and she's really cool to go back and look at. In terms of character development.
Fair enough. Shawn Michaels, who is of course also heavily involved in NXT. Thrilled every day to see the progression in these superstars. Now we get to tear the house down every Wednesday night on the USA Network. And AJ Styles, huge news. I assume this is AJ Styles, not AJ Lee.
Yes, AJ Styles.
AJ Styles, huge news for the crew, NXT and Triple H. Congrats to all. Have you seen the news about AJ Lee? She's taking a key role in the new Glow comic book, apparently.
Ooh,
yeah, I think she might be writing it. Yeah.
Nice.
So there we go. That is our big roundup / discussion.
Who do you think's winning the first week when they go head to head?
Don't ask me that question.
It's so hard to predict.
I know. I think AEW, just because they'll have already had 2 weeks, and AEW will be like the new hot thing that week. But as it goes on, it's going to be so interesting to see what happens.
I don't know what they can do in that first couple of weeks to really.
Yeah.
Like, is there going to be like a Hell in a Cell match? Like,
I don't know.
How can they elevate it to the point where it's like you need to tune in next week?
In fact, do you think they're going to?
Because it'll be 2 weeks of build, and then when they go head to head, it'll be something huge.
Do you think their first week away, like 2 weeks before AEW, is going to be the big one, or do you think they're going to build it?
They'll build and build, and I think it'll be like a mental inferno.
That week is going to be
match in a
crazy.
cage,
Oh my!
Surrounded by the Punjabi prison structure.
Yes.
And yeah.
Triple H comes out and just destroys an effigy of Pharaoh like Cody Rhodes did to the throne.
Shawn Michaels takes the title.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what you want. So yes, let us know what you think about all these developments in the comment section down below. I'm excited. It looks like it's going to be an exciting time for wrestling going forwards. Long live the bloody Wednesday Night Wars, Sam.
There's so much more work we're going to have to do every week now.
Yes, I forgot about that. Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.